Frazier. Down goes Frazier.
Hey, what's up with it, fam? It's Hot Boxing Minute, your favorite pharmaceutical engineer turned boxing analyst. Back at you with that uncut real as only I can serve it to you. Please excuse my throat, my voice. I've got some kind of bug going on here, but I woke up with it this morning and I was like, screw it. I'm going to record anyways because we need to talk about the fights that went down last night, or at least the major fights as far as I'm concerned. Janibek had a fight. I don't even want to talk about that. That was a gimme fight. I knew he was going to get a knockout, but what happened with Rolly Romero out there in Las Vegas? Oh, we need to talk about that one. Rolly Romero is now a 140-pound WBA champion in an appalling situation that went down at that fight with Ismael Barroso. Ismael Barroso was the severe underdog going into the fight, but turns out old man Ismael Barroso, a.k.a. the modern Bernard Hopkins, came to fight. And he was schooling Rolando Romero for much of that fight. In fact, Rolly Romero looked very pedantic in that fight against Ismael Barroso. They got a knockdown in the third. Ismael Barroso knocked him down in the third. Rolly Romero came back in the ninth, crossed his legs, but Tony Weeks called that as a knockdown, even though it was really just a trip over the foot. And then 2 minutes and 41 seconds into that fight, in that ninth round, Tony Weeks called a halt to the affair. In a clear case of corruption, folks. That's what that was. There was no way in hell that fight should have been stopped. No consequential shots were landed in that sequence. Nonetheless, Tony Weeks threw away his reputation, his hard-earned reputation, and Rolly Romero is now the 140-pound WBA super lightweight champion of the world, folks. I don't really even know what to think about that situation. That was the most unbelievably corrupt thing I've ever seen. You know, this thing, Rolly is now a champion. Rolly is a champion, and I don't even know what to think about it, folks. I don't know what to think about it. I like Rolly. I think most folks like Rolando Romero. You can't not smile and laugh when you think about Rolando Romero, but the whole situation with Alberto Puello being stripped because of the clomiphene and his WBA belt being up for grabs all of a sudden against Rolando Romero, who originally was ranked number 5 in the WBA rankings, suddenly gets a title shot against Ismael Barroso, who has been clawing his way up the ranks at 40 years old to be lined up for his opportunity at a title shot, to be denied that opportunity by Tony Weeks. I guess we can go on tangents and make all kind of, mental gymnastics as far as what the possibilities are, because they're infinite. Was it a PBC thing? Was it a Showtime thing? Was it just Tony Weeks? Was Rolly in on it? Was Ismael Barroso in on it? The possibilities are endless and limitless. At the very least, we know Tony Weeks was complicit in it. Now, Tony Weeks, he threw the fight at 2 minutes and 41 seconds in the ninth round, screwing over Ismael Barroso in his quest to become a champion at 40 years old. Rolando Romero is now a champion in the WBA division at 140 pounds. He joins Subriel Matias, Josh Taylor, and Regis Prograis. Tony Weeks was the guy who let Badu Jack fight with a cracked forehead against King Headbutt himself, Marcus Brown. He let him continue that fight. Tony Weeks is the same guy that gave us arguably the most action-packed fight of the 21st century, Jose Luis Castillo against Chico Corrales. That was Tony Weeks. Tony Weeks in the past was that guy in the photo that has the bloody shirt. And, we all know that photo. If you're in the boxing world, you've seen it. And Tony Weeks threw away all of his credibility, Adelaide Bird style, on cable television, on Showtime. At 2 minutes and 41 seconds in the ninth round, he screwed over Ismael Barroso and made Rolando Romero the WBA champion. Welcome to boxing, folks. I'm not even going to try to defend that. No, Tony Weeks, you screwed up. And of course, Tony Weeks couldn't be brought up to the microphone for questioning afterwards. Of course, he's not going to want to talk. He's going to want to go and check his bank account to make sure the check deposited. This sport. I don't know why I keep coming back to it. But yeah, so if you followed my videos in the build-up to Rolando Romero versus Ismael Barroso for that vacant WBA 140-pound strap, you saw me cracking jokes, and I kind of knew it was going to go down like that. I didn't obviously know it was going to go down like that. And like I said, This wasn't so much a championship fight against Ismael Barroso for a vacated strap that really belonged to Alberto Puello. This was about setting up the cards for a rematch with Tank Davis or a fight with Ryan Garcia. This is about sanctioning body fees, paper brown bag money, and under-the-table dealings to set up a future pay-per-view fight that'll either make Tank Davis a legitimate two-division champion or to collect that paycheck fighting Ryan Garcia, who, thanks to his contribution, gave Tank Davis the largest pay-per-view fight of his entire career with 1.2 million buys. Clearly, there's high marketability in Ryan Garcia. Rest assured, folks, Rolly Romero is either going to fight Tank in a rematch or Ryan Garcia. No. He is not going to fight Regis Prograis. No, he's not going to fight Josh Taylor. No, he is not going to fight Subriel Matias. Welcome to boxing, folks. Crazy. Anyways, look, I like Rolando Romero. He's a funny dude. Hats off to the man. More power to him. He's going to make his bread. It's a conflicted situation with Rolando Romero. I like Rolly. I love his story. He started at 17 years old. He's crazy awkward. He's goofy on camera. He has retardo power and, pardon my language, but, he's a strong dude. He's very entertaining to watch and has a lot of technical deficiencies and has somehow put himself in the mainstream conversation and is in pop culture. He's one of the few fighters in the game that is actually spoken of outside of the boxing world because of what an entertainer he is in front of the camera and on social media. So, I want to see him do well. I'm not going to knock nobody's hustle, and I applaud him for covering the ground that he has despite his limited technical gifts. But him getting a title, that was unbelievable. And even Rolly looked like he had a hard time believing it in the post-fight interview. You could tell he was like, hats off to Ismael Barroso. He's a warrior. Anyways, congratulations, Rolly. War Rolly. Rolly is officially a champion in boxing, arguably the worst champion in boxing right now. But we still love Rolly because Rolly is our special little friend in boxing. So I'm going to let that subject go, y'all, because if I talk about it, I'm going to go ad nauseum. The other fight I wanted to talk about, there was a lot of fights. Bader Akhmadov had a fun little shootout with Kenneth Sims. That was awesome. Of course, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning of this video, we had the Kazakh boogeyman, but I don't even really want to talk about my guy Janibek. Hats off to Australia's Jason Maloney. Australia has a new champion in the 118-pound division. He won a vacant WBO bantamweight strap, the one that was vacated by Naoya Inoue. In an anticlimactic fight, he used his footwork and jab to beat Vincent Astrolabio of the Philippines out there in Stockton, California, to win his first major title. Hats off to Jason Maloney. You know what they say in boxing, folks. A good right hand will get you around the block. A good jab will get you around the world. Now, Jason Maloney worked hard. He got beat by Emmanuel Rodriguez in 2018, infamously stopped by Naoya Inoue in 2020, grinded his way back up, fought for that vacant strap that was left by Naoya Inoue when he left the bantamweight division, and here we go, folks. He's officially a champion. He beat Vincent Astrolabio. His brother, Andrew Maloney, is going to be fighting next week for the super flyweight, the 115-pound division, against Junto Nakatani, who's a monster in his own right. So maybe we'll end up having two new champions in Australia, but Junto Nakatani is a beast. Either way, hats off to Andrew Maloney, the new champion out there from Australia, WBO bantamweight. There you go. And I'm going to just leave it at that, folks. Wanted to give a big shout out to Jason Maloney on his awesome achievement. And I wanted to vent a little bit about Rolly, War Rolly. Anyways, y'all, what did you think about Rolando Romero? Leave a comment. Congrats to Jason Maloney. What did you think about that fight? I thought it was kind of anticlimactic, but I'm happy for him for winning a title. He worked his way and earned that. Hit that like button if you haven't already done so. Press follow. This is Hot Boxing Minute, the future of boxing analysis on YouTube and TikTok. Peace.